Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Restock Report webinar from InventoryLab. I'm Jeff, and I'm here with John Caleri. He's a guy that comes up with all these ideas and molds them, and he's otherwise known as Director of Product, I guess, right?
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
So if you have any questions, put those in the comments field, and we'll be able to address those. We're also expecting Elliot Beatty. He's a software guru, so, or one of them anyway. So he'll be here to join us as well. So I guess we can start with the report itself, John, and maybe tell us a bit about the process that InventoryLab goes through when things like this are thought of and developed. You know, how it's from brainstorming to fruition, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, most of the ideas that we have, in fact, almost all of them, are generated through our users. And we hear from our users about what's important to them. We hear from our users about these are the other things that I'm using right now. And it would really be nice if InventoryLab had something like this too. And certainly one of those highly requested items was a report like this one, which we're calling the Restock Report. And there may be quite a few of you out on this webinar who are familiar with the existing report, the Velocity Report, which probably isn't aptly named. But what you would see and notice from the report that we have now is that it's quite a bit more powerful. It has quite a few more features and options, and I think will give the user, you guys, a better idea how your business is running, and specifically what you need to make sure that you have stocked and that you're going to be nearly stocking out on. So to answer Jeff's question in an even longer way, we hear from you, and that is why we've built this report out and have made it an option to our users.
Awesome. Hey, Elliot, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hey, sorry I'm late.
Oh, no, we're all good. So, yeah, that sounds good. So tell us what the purpose of the Restock Report is. I mean, you mentioned the Velocity Report, and this is like a supercharged version, or?
Yeah, sure. So this certainly will tell you how close you are to being stocked out on an item in your inventory. But I think even further than that, it shows you sales projections, and it's really smart. It's able to understand, based on the history that you have in selling that particular item, the best way to forecast what your predicted sales will be going into the future. So, for example, if you've sold this item for maybe more than a year, and we can notice that there's a trend or a pattern in the data that says that you might sell this item more during the summer months than other months. That predicted model is going to take that into account and show it to you in the forecast. So there's a lot more intelligence built into this report. There's a lot more flexibility built into this report. There's a lot more customization or customizability, if I'm able to make up a word, built into this report. And I'm probably missing some things that we'll see when we get into the actual demo. And Elliot's going to help me fill in some of those blanks too.
One of the big things from a technical perspective is that this is using machine learning behind the scenes. So it will actually do forecasts in with multiple algorithms, and then it will go back and test those against historic data to see which ones are the best, and then that's what it'll present you. So it's considerably, quote unquote, smarter than the legacy Velocity Report.
Oh, nice. All right, I was just getting a better link than the one that I put in there for the Velocity Report. That was really hard to copy, so let me drop that in there. If you're interested in the Velocity Report, it's part of our Insights program, the subscription that's starting as well today. And speaking of that, if you don't see the Restock Report in your account now, it's slowly rolling out today. So once you do, you'll have a new look to your menus. It does take time to roll that out and run through a validation as we enable it for everyone. So if you don't see it yet, you should. What do you guys think? By the end of the day, or?
I can get a progress update while we're on this call, maybe, Jeff, and give you a better idea.
All righty.
That's going.
Perfect.
So there's where you can get information on it in our support portal. But let's see. We'll just dive right in Let me switch screens here and show everybody what it is. There we go. All right, so this is the Restock Report. You'll see a new menu item up here called Insights, and you can get to the Restock Report right there. But first off, you'll have to go to Settings, and then under My Account, you'll want to set up a trial. You get a 30-day, free trial, and then the Insights will start. It'll start then, and then after that, it's $25 a month for that. But some of the settings you'll want to set up are here on the Settings page under Insights. And some of this is probably going to be very familiar to you if you've used the Velocity Report. But we have a Restock Soon setting. And now, so in the example, it's if you have a lead time of 10 days and you'll stock out on November 21st, with the current settings, the Restock Soon would show up on October 28th. So that'll be 14 days before your stock out. And you can set this however you like it. It just defaults to 2 weeks. And then Restock Now, you can also set that up. Currently, it's 0 days before lead time. You can also set that up a number of days if you want before your lead time setting. And then we also have another option here for automatically updating on order items. So you'll see when we go through the report that you can put items on order. And then when a batch that includes an item is submitted, or it's either added to or edited in unlisted inventory, you can get a notification. So you have options: always update, always ask to update, or never update if you don't really care about that. But you will get an update on that, and it'll remove the on order status automatically from your Restock Report. So here's the basic functionality or look of it. When you first come here, you're going to have your menu is going to be open like this so you can see where it is, but you can easily close it just clicking right here. And we did that just to make it more obvious that that's where it was. And through our beta testing, that was one of the comments we had. And so can you speak to that a little bit, John, about the beta program and some of the updates that
yeah, actually, and that I think you'll probably notice, and you've probably seen some of the messages asking, hey, are you interested in testing something out for us? And that was certainly something we asked for with the Restock Report. We had a pretty good cohort of users, some that hadn't used the previous Velocity Report, some that had, and some that had outside software that they were using to manage their stock levels. And so we were able to get a really good swath of feedback on the report itself, and we're able to make some really good tweaks. And that was during our beta, which had started a couple of months ago. So some of the feedback was pretty simple stuff like, hey, let's just open up that menu on the left side. So the report options that you see on the left was kind of tucked away and hidden before, and it can be hidden again. And when you come back to that report, it'll remember where you were, whether it was hidden or open. Some of it had to do with how we manage sorting items. And there's still, I think, some work to be done on a few of those things that are related to the sort. But it's been really, really useful and beneficial to get feedback from groups before we fully launch the application. So if there are any of those of you who were a part of that beta that are on here, I thank you for your feedback and the work that you put into it.
Yeah, for sure. So when you're on this report, it's kind of the main menu here. You can add tracked items from here. So if I were to click that, I can look for items from my inventory if I want to add them to the Restock Report right from here. I can click it on, set my lead time. I can either type it in or use the little carrots here. And then that'll put that on there. I'm going to cancel that out. But then I can also update the items that are currently tracked. But if I wanted to search my inventory from this screen, I can also search for inventory and add it in a similar way. And then custom view, this is the standard view that you're seeing here. And you can see that the grid is showing these items. But if I wanted to create a custom view, it's very simple. I just put a name there. I can set my report time frame to show the information here. I can set the replenishment period, whether I want to know how much I need to purchase in the next 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. We also have outliers and safety stock. We'll go over those in a little bit. And as well as stock statuses. If I want to display some of those in a certain way, I can have them on or off. And then, of course, your channels, you can have FBA and MFN or merchant fulfilled, turn those on or off. And then the column options, you can select what you want to see when you come in here, and it'll save this view, and then you can have it set so that when you come back to the report, it's going to show that, but you can also switch between them. But there's a lot of options on this report. We put what we thought would be the most important here on the standard. So that's what we're showing here. Let me just shut that down. And then, of course, you can see when it was refreshed last. And then clicking here on this little book, that's going to open up your Restock Report overview. It'll have all the information you need for all the different sections. Pretty handy. And then now we have a stock status. So when it's highlighted as it is here, that's what you're showing. So you show 0 stock, 1 on order, 0 restock soon, restock now, 0, and then no stock. There are 10 items. Again, this is our test account. So it's going to look a little different than your account as you're making sales and those sorts of things. But I can just look at restock now if that's all I want to see. And then if I want to show them all again, just a click of a button. That's a pretty handy update. That wasn't in the original, though. And that was also from the beta?
That was based on feedback as well. Yep.
So that'll, you can set your display up as you like it. And then, it's just basic tracked items here. They're showing 11. We have the item title, MSKU on hand. Sales forecast, what you're going to see on that, and this is just a screenshot. You'll see it's green or red. It'll show you an arrow in the next 30 days. We think you're going to need more due to increased sales. If the sales are expected to go down, it'll show red there. If there's no sales, of course, it'll show red. So that's what it'll look like versus what it looks like here. See, we have a lot of not enough sales data. And again, that's because it's a test account. But then you'll also see your lead time, and then replenish by is going to give you a date when you need to replenish by. And if you've used the velocity report, you're probably familiar with those and how that looks. This also has changed. We've set outliers and safety stock to default to off. And then you can change the report time on the fly. I just say if I wanted the next 60 days, I could change that. Refreshes the screen, and now you're looking at report time frame for the next 60 days and then the replen period for the next 30 days. Do you want to go into these items here right now and talk about the report time frame and replen period?
Yeah, I could talk a little bit about that right now. So the first thing is outliers, and so the outliers toggle matters more when we're talking about forecasts. Actually, it matters entirely when you're talking about forecasts. What the outliers is intended to do, so you see a screenshot here, and there may be a day, there may be multiple days over the history of sales for a particular SKU in your inventory where you had like a crazy number of sales. Or conversely, it could be that you usually sell, let's say I usually sell between 30 and 40 of an item in a day, and I had a day where I sold 2. And so when you have those spikes that are up and down, it can certainly have an impact on your sales forecast. And we've added the option to remove those outliers with that toggle. And so essentially what it's doing is it's taking your sales and it's putting them into quartiles, and it's cutting off the top and the bottom quartiles of your sales based on your sales numbers for each day. And what that essentially will do then, for some people, they prefer that because then it gives them a more accurate or a better reflection of what they may need to restock or what that sales forecast might look like. So it can be an important thing, especially if you maybe don't sell a lot of that particular item and you went completely gangbusters on a couple of days and sold a lot. It may inflate what your forecast sales would be or should be. So having that outliers toggle on will remove that noise. So that's one. And then safety stock is an inventory calculation that takes into account that you may want to make sure that you don't stock out of a particular item. And so to make sure that you don't stock out of that item, if you turn that toggle on, it's going to give you a more conservative estimate of when you need to replenish that item. So you'll notice certainly that it'll change when you toggle on the safety stock toggle as well. What were the others, Jeff?
Then we have the report time frame here.
Right, and the report time frame, and I don't want to bungle this up, but there are a certain number of calculations that you can add to your report that are impacted by the report time frame, and some of that I think is like your return on investment numbers. Those certainly can change depending on the time frame you're looking at. And then you'll also see that just the view in general of the data that you have in the grid here will change if you change that report time frame. So if you change it to 60 days, you're going to get a different view from when you had it at 30. Did that not change there? Yeah, there you go. So that'll change the amount of data or the information that you see in that particular window. But when you're back on the main report window, there are a set of fields where that report time frame will actually impact the value of the calculation that would show up on that particular line item or that particular SKU. So that's the time frame. And then the estimated replenishment period is a view that it will change again depending on the replenishment period. I'm trying to think of how to describe this. If you're looking at a period of 60 days and you want to make sure that you've got stock over that 60 days, it'll also change the amount that you need to restock with if you want to be covering that particular period. So if you want to make sure you're covered for 90 days, it will change the estimated replenishment quantity depending on the time period that you want to be replenished for. And for some people, that's important because you may not want to be carrying stock that might sit in a warehouse and cost you extra money. But for some people, their decision may be that it's expensive for me to source this stock. And I want to make sure that I'm not doing it as frequently, or I want to try to bundle as much of it as I can as I'm ordering it from a supplier. So we wanted to lend that flexibility to sellers so that they had the choice about what replenishment period they wanted to choose, and let them make that choice for themselves.
And so with you mentioned the forecasting, you can also hover over the little eye here and you can see what forecast model we're using for this particular one. It's a moving average, but we have 3 different ones that we use, correct?
Right.
Depending on the situation. So I know there's a linear, there's the moving average, and then a seasonality moving average.
Right. And
so go ahead, sorry.
Right. No, and Elliot had described the machine learning and basically our algorithms understanding of what the best potential model to show is. And again, that depends on the historic data. And it'll choose which one works best depending on how much data we have. Now, if we don't have enough data to even build a moving average, you're going to see a linear model. So if you don't have a lot of sales history on a particular item, you're likely to see the linear model used. If you have a fair amount, let's say, it's not a hard and fast rule, but if you have at least a few months of historical data, it's more likely that you're going to see a moving average model. And if you've got at least a year or more data, and we're able to discern some specific trends in that particular data, then you'll notice that sales forecast will appear as the seasonality moving average. So you'll see spikes depending on what time of year we noticed that there were trends in sales that might have been higher or lower. And if you think about something that you might sell over, ahead of a specific holiday, you may see that trends up at that particular time. And so this is useful if you happen to be in a part of the year where you may sell more of that. The sales forecast is going to take that into account, and it's going to tell you how much you should restock depending on what that forecast is saying.
Gotcha. Okay. let me share the next tab here, and this has more info on what you were just talking about. There we go. So yeah, so that'll show you if you have the forecast model that if you have that showing on your grid, you're going to see which model we're using for that. So it's very clear as you go through which forecast model is being used. So it's pretty adaptable. I mean, whatever you want to see, I think you can pretty much set it up to do that. So let me switch back to the other screen now. Sorry for all the switching around. I can only share one screen at a time. I miss having a second screen. So
Why don't you have a second screen, Jeff?
well, on the road, just have my
Yeah.
trusty laptop. So here we go. But yeah, so like John mentioned too, not enough sales data. So you're going to see that if there's not enough info there. But
Right.
another
Yeah,
menu
sometimes we don't have enough even to do a linear model quite yet. So if it's so
Yeah.
new or there haven't been any sales for quite some time, we may not have enough data to even produce a forecast.
Gotcha. You also have some filters here or a menu here on the line items. So what you can do is chart the item. So if I wanted to look at that, I can click there. It'll pop that up. I can dismiss that. I can add it to a buy list. Now this requires using Scoutify currently. I think there's plans to expand this in the future, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, we want to bring the buy list functionality into parity within the entire application at some point. So you can create buy lists, add to buy lists from really anywhere. So that once we have that, it's not planned right now, but once we have that, then the ability to create new buy lists from here would be a new capability.
But if you set up your Scoutify, app on your phone, and you can just create a buy list, and then you can just add to it from here very easily. Any of these buy lists that are on our test account, you can see we have quite a few. But if you set them up specifically for your restock report, and you can have multiple, and then you can create your batches right from these buy lists automatically. You just create a new batch, sync in that buy list, and your batch is pretty much done for you. Pretty handy feature, actually. So view inventory detail. If you go there, it's going to switch over to your inventory page, and then you're going to see information on that product. And mark as ordered, on order. So if you're ordering this, you can set your purchase date, how many, put some notes in here. And then if you mark it on order, then you'll see the truck here, ordered, the date. And if I want to look at what I put in there, I can bring it up. I can remove that. It's pretty handy. And like I said, if your settings, we mentioned in the settings page that you can have that automatically removed when you have adjustments done.
Yeah, and Jeff, to add on to the on order, why that's nice is if you've ordered an item, you come back to this report and you just want to see the items that you need to make sure that that get your attention. So you want to see the stuff that needs to be restocked. If you set an item to on order status, then you can filter those out of your report, so you no longer have to worry about them, or you could sort them so that they go to the bottom, for example. And that way, you know that they're there, you know that you ordered them, and you have the information about what you ordered. But you don't have to remember, well, I thought I ordered that already. Why is it still on my report? This gives you a way to flag those items so that you don't have to panic every time you come in here and you see all the items that need to be restocked.
And then you can remove it from the report right from here. So these menu items, they'll stay. This also was an adjustment from the beta testing to make it easier to see and adds to the functionality. So you can also set up some filters by going here and just changing the look temporarily. But then if you want to see whatever view you want to see, you can come right back here, and set it again, create a new one, undo the view changes here I'm assuming that would take off the filters. most likely.
Yeah, so if you've changed this view and you want to just get back to the default view again, undoing the view changes would take you back, I believe, to the
There you
default view.
go.
Because you could add columns to this one if you wanted to as well. It's just not going to save them unless you save it as one of your custom views.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Elliot, go ahead on that migration for people that are waiting for that to appear.
Sure. We're at about 45% right now, and we started at
Oh,
midnight.
nice.
So everyone should have it by end of day tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Perfect. So if you're waiting, if you don't have it, check by end of day tomorrow or periodically, and you should have it there. So Giovanni had a question. What's the difference between this and the velocity report? Is it just a better velocity report?
Do you want me to take that? Elliot, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I can take it from sure. Yeah, I'll take it, John. So we've done a lot, and we've built off the learning lessons we had from the old velocity report. The calculations are all new. So we brought in a data scientist to help us with all the number crunching, and it's all statistical models behind the scene that are driving our projections. So that's one really big facet of this. The other one is that you can now request new reports on demand as you make changes. So we have a on-demand process similar to like Amazon, where you can request new data to be like refreshed. And then the front end is wildly different. When I say front end, I mean the interface that you interact with the report is much more customizable, and there's much more data that we show. It's not as static as the old one. So by and large, it's a much beefier, smarter, more customizable version of the legacy report.
Yeah, the forecasting is going to be far more a far more accurate reflection of your sales, your past sales. That's pretty huge as well. And as Elliot said, there are so many more data points that you can add into this that, again, some of them will update and change their calculations depending on the report time frame you're looking at. You have a lot more capability and customizability in your replenishment period, so you can see, if your business needs, like I said, to have a 90-day window where your stock, you can certainly adjust for that. So there's just far more capability and smarts built into this particular report, and certainly the velocity report was a good report for us. But this is a leap forward from that standard velocity report that we have.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that the first iteration of the velocity report was good, but this is far and away so much better and customizable. It's pretty amazing. So when you're setting your lead time, I'm assuming it should include inbound to warehouse, inbound to Amazon, and FC transfer. Yeah, you want to include all of the time it's going to take you to get. First, you have to order the stock, the replenishment. It's got to be sent to you or your prep center. Then it's got to get sent to the fulfillment center and then checked in and all that. So, yeah, you'd want to include all of that in your lead time to make sure of that. If we have any other questions, feel free to put those in the comments. Now, we did mention that this is a subscription, Insights. I know you probably can't say much about Insights. It's kind of a new program, but part of it is the Restock Report, but there are plans for Insights, aren't there?
Yeah, so much like what you're seeing here with this new UI, new customizability, the customizations that you can make, and some of the more analytic capabilities that you see in a report like this, we certainly are going to be adding new capabilities to this Insights menu area. I can't give any timetables on that, but specifically we will be having additional reporting and analytic capabilities that are added. If you have particular ideas or thoughts about what you'd like to see in this Insights area, we certainly are always open to the feedback from our users. We've collected certainly quite a bit of that already, which I think gives us a fairly good idea of what we want to add coming up. But yes, the idea is that this is not where it ends, that we'll continue to add more cool analytic capability in this particular area of the application.
So Wendy says, can we see the archived inventory and add that to this report?
We did make an adjustment for archived inventory. So I believe that was, and I'm not sure exactly where that is in the pipeline, but that is certainly something that we wanted included in this. Yes.
Yeah, so it's not live yet, but you will be able to in the near future, Wendy.
Oh, gotcha. Good deal. In Giovanni, currently it's monthly, and I don't know if that's going to change, but right now it's monthly. And so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you'll get your 30 days of your free trial, and then it'll start, but you won't be charged the monthly until the end of that second 30 days. Is that right? And then going forward, it's the month after you've used it?
Yeah, correct. So the billing, it's a little different from the upfront billing we've had in the past. The billing for this report will happen like Jeff described at the end of your billing cycle. It'll be on the same day, so it won't look or feel any different to you. But yes, this is monthly for now. We've talked about the potential that we would maybe align that with annual somewhere down the road. But for now, it's just a monthly subscription.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you know what, I would try to pronounce your name, but I don't want to butcher it. So I'm just going to say Robinson. You are welcome. You were right on thinking that the lead time will probably be longer than the default. You know, it's different for everybody, and some people get local stuff. So we thought we're just going to throw 14 days as a default, but just know that, yeah, you can go into your settings page and you can set that however you'd like it. So, yeah. Any other questions about the restock report? We can certainly answer those. Cage, okay. That makes it easier. Thank you. But yeah, any other questions? Feel free to put those in there. Again, when you see it in your account, you'll see the menu change. So you'll see it look like this, and your support portal and all of that is going to be moved to the right. That's another change. So you'll see all of that, the same options, but it's just right here. And then, of course, Insights is there. And you want to go to your My Account page to take care of that and start your trial. But pretty exciting. We're pretty happy to have it out there now and live. So, yeah, do either of you guys have anything else you want to say about it, or about anything?
I did see a question about other marketplaces such as
Right.
Walmart in
What was
there.
that? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and right now not part of the roadmap. We don't have it as in the plans yet to add any other marketplaces like Walmart or eBay, for example.
Gotcha. Yeah, Wendy, whenever you see it in your account, you'll be able to add it. So you just go up to,
And they'll know if they see it in the menu up there, Jeff, which it'll say Insights.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can check once you see the menu change, you should be able to go to My Account, and then here's a look a little different than this. It's a test account, but you'll need to, of course, if you're on the subscription and all that already, you'll be able to change your card or update it as well. But it'll be change my plan is what this is going to say, and you'll also see some options for Insights here, and so you'll be able to see that right there.
There will be a link for it in the menu if they aren't signed up.
Yeah, this will say, yeah, sign me up right there, and then it'll take care of that for you. So yeah, good point. All right. Yeah, Giovanni, just in that menu, I just showed here. You'll see Insights pop up, and it'll say sign me up right there, and then you can click that. It'll take you right to the sign up. So let's see. Not really restock related, but yeah, you can go to Teach Me How to List, Elmo, but also if you go to the support portal, go up here. You may see it. It'll say something different here if you haven't got Insights in your account. But just go to Help Center, and then go to the coaching and customer coaching right here. You can sign up for the 5 classes we have. Quick Start would be the best one for you. We do these weekly. But if you go to the Teach Me to List, you can get that from your Getting Started. And that will walk you through how to list through InventoryLab, create your shipments, box contents, and all that. I would also look for, if you get to the user guide, just search for Quick Start. And when you do that, you're going to see a Quick Start article. This is the one you want, listing and completing a private FBA batch. And that's going to take you from creating the batch to adding items and everything involved in that. So that's a great article to go through. So, oh, nice. If I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, Caladria. Haven't
I'm going to go
kept up with
Caladria.
Caladria. Okay,
That's
we'll
what I'm
with
going to
that.
go with.
Okay. Haven't kept up with the development, so didn't realize this was coming, but it's a great feature. Excited for it. Thanks. I like the direction this is going. Yeah, thank you. We're pretty excited for it too. So let us know what you think. Reach out to support and give us your input. And always, if you have suggestions, we're more than happy to forward those to the team, John and Elliot, and they look at those and we see what's going to fit with the roadmap. So. All right. Well, I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me in the webinar, and thanks to everybody out there that joined us as well. Thanks, y'all. So with that, I mean, unless you guys have anything else to say about it.
No, I think I'd echo what you just said, that if you have feedback or suggestions like you've given on this call already, on this webinar, certainly send those through our support portal. We do want to hear those, and they do get considered. We've already got a good list of them that we got through our beta that we'll be looking at including. So if you've got suggestions or needs, let us know. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, and thanks everybody for joining us. See you at the next one. See you. Bye all. Bye.